Welcome to the second episode of Druid City Tonight, and we're talking about everything that happened in West Alabama this February. There were quite a few important updates to the Darius Miles case this month, so we're just going to take a minute to go over all of that first. Darius Miles and Michael Davis had their preliminary hearings on February 20th. Both are charged with capital murder after the shooting death of 23-year-old Jamia Jonee Harris. The hearing was to determine if Miles and Davis could be allowed to be out on bond. And really, out on bond for capital murder is just a ridiculous sentence. And even though athletes usually seem to face no consequences, hey OJ, that doesn't mean they shouldn't. District Judge Joanne Janik did not grant bonds to Miles or Davis since capital murder charges do not allow for bond. UA basketball player Brandon Miller also got involved in the case this month after it was found Miles had texted Miller to bring him his gun. In a statement from Miller's attorney, he did bring Miles his gun, but you would do that for anything. Like if my friend left their wallet in my car and then called me to ask for their wallet back, I wouldn't just hang up the phone and go throw it in the river. Miller was literally just giving Miles his stuff back. Miller did not know there was a fight going on between Miles and Jamia Harris's boyfriend, Cedric Johnson. Despite Miller's innocence, as the gun didn't belong to him and he didn't know there was any altercation, Miller was asked to stop his pre-game ritual. Alabama men's basketball head coach Nate Oates said Miller would no longer be doing his pre-game pat down by a teammate since it was not appropriate at this time. I can see how it might be insensitive, but really it just looked like he's going through TSA. Early this month, WVUA 23 called Green Track, Utah's largest electronic bingo facility. The person who answered the phone said Green Track was not open. Last year, the Alabama Supreme Court ruled Green Track owed the state $75 million in unpaid taxes. That might be how much I owe in taxes as far as I know. I haven't filled them out yet. Green Track had a temporary shutdown but reopened in October. You know how you can just keep operating a business when you're $75 million in debt? The Utah mayor worried about the 75 people who lost their jobs. Greene County schools also are worried because they get more than $13,000 each month from Green Track.
The money is actually utilized in a variety of areas. It provides everything from assists with funding school resource officers, to personnel, to transportation. Our general fund, it supports all areas within the school district.
I don't know about you, but having a school system which relies on electronic bingo money does not seem safe. That's like running the Parks and Recreation Department based on money you put on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Also this month, another Greene County bingo establishment, Palace Bingo Live, donated $5,000 to the Greene County health system. Again, why are we using bingo money to fund necessary things like education and health care? The other big story in Tuscaloosa this month was when Hillcrest High School was suspected of silencing a student-led Black History program. Hillcrest students said the administration did not want them to talk about Black history before 1970. Oh, so like all the worst parts. Sorry, you can't know who Martin Luther King was, even though every major city in America has an MLK Boulevard. Hillcrest High School said the administration did not tell students what they could and could not discuss. The high school said the program was entirely student-led and out of the school's hands. About 300 students walked out of the school on the Wednesday morning after the incident. They protested peacefully with speeches, signs, and rallying cries. Hillcrest senior Jemiah Brown told WVUA 23 what the administration had said.
It wasn't a common matter that came to us, and they addressed the situation as to it makes us uncomfortable if we talk about slavery or segregation or anything of that sort, or civil rights.
Hillcrest administrators were really playing the victim here. Did they think they were really more uncomfortable with slavery than the people who experienced it? The Tuscaloosa NAACP held a couple meetings about the incident to discuss the issue with students, parents, and staff. The NAACP also asked the United States Department of Justice to mediate future meetings between community leaders and school administration. Students did end up having their annual Black History program on its scheduled date. Wait, This is an annual program? Being upset about it now seems a little late. That's like giving birth to a child, throwing them a birthday party for 7 years, and then on their 8th birthday being like, again? Are you serious? It makes us uncomfortable having 10 8-year-olds over to the house. Starting this year, Alabama now allows gun owners to carry handguns openly or concealed without a permit. Before I even get into this story, if I see someone carrying a gun in the open, I'm going to assume they're about to rob me. Moving on. The money from that old $20 concealed carry permit used to go to county sheriff's offices. Now those offices are missing out on that permit money. However, the Alabama Department of Economic and Community Affairs will be offering grants for sheriff's offices who need that funding. Oh, this was a really smart plan by the Alabama government. Don't require gun permits and then spend a bunch of grant money to make up for the lost funds. That's like when you're fighting with your brother and you hit him really hard, and then to make up for it, you're like, "Don't worry, you can hit me back, don't tell Mom." Hale County Sheriff Michael Hamilton said he's not concerned about losing money because his residents are still buying their permits. When I read that, I wondered why you would waste $20 when you can just do it for free now. And I want to point out something here. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, around 58% of Hale County residents identify as African American. I too would still be buying a gun permit if I were a black person in rural Alabama. Worried about severe weather in Alabama? The City of Utah's new disaster preparedness website has you covered. With all the latest information about upcoming thunderstorms and tornadoes, as well as weather preparation tips and getting help after a disaster, the new website is working to keep you safe. By using this website, residents of Utah consent to being tracked by the United States government. They consent to giving up all information, including social security numbers. This website is sponsored by Green Track Bingo. Green Track, we owe the state of Alabama $75 million. Alabama hospitals are requesting help from the state after having the worst year financially since the beginning of the pandemic. You know how 20,000 people die in Alabama and the state still isn't funding hospitals well enough? The Horror Tuscaloosa hosted a Valentine's-themed haunted house this month. It included some of the scariest things you can think of, such as cupids with clown makeup, a real heart that actually beats, and all of your ex-boyfriends telling you that you'll never find love. Tuscaloosa County residents voted no on property tax increases this month. That money would have gone to the Tuscaloosa County school system, which would have gotten another $15 million a year from the increase. Now students will just have to keep selling those shitty candy boxes or souvenir popcorn tins. Warrior Met coal miners went back to work after being on strike for 2 years. However, the union has not yet gotten a new contract from the mining company. Here's a list of other things that went on for about 2 years and ended up being a waste of time. Number 1, Richard Nixon's second term. Number 2, Tom Brady's stint at Tampa Bay. And number 3, my last relationship. The Northport City Council couldn't decide who should fill its vacant District 3 City Council seat, so they let Kay Ivey decide. The seat was vacant because the District 3 Councilman John Hinton became the mayor after former Mayor Bobby Herndon retired at the end of 2022. Said Kay Ivey, "I knew the federal government couldn't get anything done. Now you're telling me local governments can't either? Bless their hearts." Bear Creek Academy in Tuscaloosa is raising chickens, but this month 12 of those chickens were stolen from their coop. Bear Creek Academy principal Monica Rogers said the students were devastated. The school offered a $900 reward for the return of the chickens. I wonder if that $900 reward is coming from bingo money funds. Hale County is beginning repairs on its jail. Jail Administrator Mary Gilmore said the main problem was leaks in the jail roof, meaning there were buckets catching water in a bunch of different spots. The over $600,000 repairs are being paid for by the American Rescue Plan Act funds. And I get that the American Rescue Plan is supposed to help a lot of things impacted by COVID, but it's starting to seem like states are spending the money like a 16-year-old with their parents' credit card. Well, that's all the news that's fit to joke about. Thanks for watching Druid City Tonight, and we'll see you next time for your March recap.